session. Let us begin with prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 5, Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyāsadeva. So today we are beginning this new chapter. We have completed 4 chapters in the first canto of Bhagavatam. Today we are beginning with the 5th chapter. Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyāsadeva. Text 1. Suta uvacha athatam sukhamasina upasinam bruhashravaha devarshih praha viprarshim veena pani smayan iva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Suta Goswami said, thus the sage amongst the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the Rishi amongst the Brahmanas, Vedavyasa. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Narada was smiling because he well knew the great sage Vedavyasa and the cause of his disappointment. As he will explain gradually, Vyāsadeva's disappointment was due to insufficiency in presenting the signs of devotional service. Narada knew the defect and it was confirmed by the position of Vyasa. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. So in the previous chapter, we saw how the great sage Vyāsadeva, who is a literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for the benefit of the entire mankind, he divided the one Veda into 4, and then he also compiled the Upanishads. He also compiled the Vedanta Sutras, the Brahma-sūtras. Then he composed the Mahabharata for the less intelligent class of people. All this Vyāsadeva did out of his immense compassion towards the miserly people in this material world, especially in Kali Yuga, who do not know how to utilize the valuable human form of life. So out of compassion, as we have seen in the previous session, chapter, Vyasaha Kripana Vatsalaha. He was very compassionate towards the Kripanas, the miserly people, who are the opposite number of the Brahmanas, who have no interest in spiritual realization. So for their benefit, Vyasadeva compiled all these Vedic scriptures. But even after doing all this, Vyasadeva was not very satisfied. He was trying to introspect, where have I gone wrong? Why is that I am not satisfied? And while he was contemplating in this way on the banks of river Saraswati, near his hermitage, a thought came to his mind that we have seen in the yesterday's session, that Vyasadeva could understand that since I have not properly described the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord Krishna, that is why I am not satisfied. So Vyasadeva himself could understand this by his own introspection. And we have discussed also that a devotee should always be introspective about his activities. A devotee should not be too sure that whatever he has thought by his limited intelligence, is perfect. A devotee should always do some soul search, some introspection, and also should consult his authorities. One should not be too sure that whatever I am thinking, whatever conclusion I have come to, that is the perfect thing. One should not be too sure. That simply means that we are so proud about our own intellectual capacities. We should never trust our mind. Therefore, whenever we are in a dilemma, even though we might have got a clue to the solution to our problem, we should always express our dilemma. We should also express our proposed solution to somebody who is spiritually more advanced than us and take the opinion and guidance of such an advanced devotee. This is the meaning of association of devotees. So, when Vyāsadeva was contemplating in this way, at that time, we have seen in the last two shlokas of the previous chapter that Sri Nārada Muni appeared there. So now, what happened after Nārada Muni appeared? Yes, we have also seen that Vyāsadeva rose up from his seat immediately and gave an apt welcome to Nārada Muni, and then he expressed his concern. And now Suta Goswami is continuing to describe what actually happened at that time. Suta Uvacha Athatam Sukham Asina Upasinam Brihashravaha. Now, Bhagavatam is so beautiful. Each shloka, it has got wonderful expressions which are actually very deep in meaning. So, Suta Goswami is telling all the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, that Athatam, therefore, Tam, that is him, referring to Nārada Muni, Athatam, him, Sukham Asinaha, comfortably seated. Nārada Muni was comfortably seated. Sukham Asina. Upasinam Brihashravaha. And who sat nearby Nārada Muni? Nārada Muni was seated on his comfortable seat and very close to him. Upa means to come closer. Upasinam. Upavasa means to stay closer to the Lord. Upanayana, to come closer to the spiritual master. Right? These are all the meanings of the word Upa. Upa means to come closer. So, Upasinam, Asinam, sitting nearby. Brihatshravāha, greatly respected. So, Nārada Muni is referred to here as Brihat Shravāha, one who is greatly respected. Nārada Muni, as we know, he is greatly respected not only by the Devatas or human beings, but also by the demoniac class of people. It is only Nārada Muni who can happily walk into even an assembly of demons like Hiranyakashipu or Kamsa and still be respected there, because Nārada Muni, being a pure devotee, and whenever he speaks, the listener always understands that this person has no duplicity. He is speaking for my benefit only. So even demoniac people have great respect for Nārada Muni. In the Shat Goswami Ashtaka, composed by Srila Srinivasa Acharya, we find the quality of the six Goswamis. One of the qualities is that Dhira Dhira Priyau Priyakarau. The six Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were dear not only to the gentle people, but also to the adhiras, to the ruffians. That is the quality of a pure devotee. So here, Brihat Shravaha, Nārada Muni, was greatly respected. And he is Devarshihi. He is a great Rishi among the Devatas. Among the Devatas, Rishi, saintly person, is Nārada Muni. So Nārada Muni is simultaneously a Devata, plus he is a Rishi also. So he is a Devarshi. And as we have seen in the third chapter of the first canto of Bhagavatam, Nārada Muni is not only a Devarshi, but he is also an empowered incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Lord has invested the potency of bhakti in Narad Muni, and by that potency, Narad Muni travels everywhere in the universe and propagates the pure message of Krishna Bhakti. So, Devarshihi, he is a great sage among the gods, among the Devatas. Praha, he spoke. Whom did he speak to? Viprarshim, Viprarshi. Narad Muni is Devarshi, Vyāsadeva is Viprarshi. Viprarshi means the Rishi among the Vipras. Vipra means a highly learned Brahmana. He is called a Vipra. And Vyāsadeva, he is referred to as Viprarshi here by Suta Goswami because he was a Brahmana, but he was also a very great sage, a saintly Brahmana. And we have also seen that just like Narad Muni is an empowered incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Vyāsadeva is also an empowered incarnation of the Supreme Lord. When two empowered incarnations of the Supreme Lord are going to meet, their conversation will be very meaningful and their conversation is going to be very relevant. The conversation includes a lot of instructions to all of us. So therefore, this chapter is very special because two empowered incarnations of the Lord, they are going to speak to each other. One playing the role of a spiritual master, the other playing the role of an ideal disciple. So here, Devarshi is going to speak to Viprarshi. And what was the mood of Devarshi? Already the mood of Viprarshi, Vyāsadeva, we have discussed already. He is in a confusion or he is in a state of dissatisfaction. He is upset, he is not happy. He is apparently going through some kind of a internal turmoil and confusion. Why did such a thing happen? Why am I not satisfied even after compiling all the Vedic scriptures? That is the mood of Vyāsadeva. What is the mood of Narad Muni? That is described here. Veena panihi smayan iva. Very nice expression. Smayan iva. Veena pani. We know Narad Muni always carries his veena in his hand. Narad Muni bajai veena radhika ramana name. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung in a song. What does Narad Muni do? He plays on his musical instrument veena and he goes everywhere. No one stops him. In all the three worlds, he goes playing on a stringed instrument. He chants the holy names of Radhika Ramana, Radha Krishna. He chants the holy names. So he is Veena Panihi. And what is his mood? Smayan, Smayan Iva. He was apparently smiling. Narad Muni was smiling. Why is he smiling? Because he's always absorbed in chanting the holy names. He's always absorbed in devotional service to Krishna. Therefore, there is no reason for his lamentation. He's always smiling. He's a liberated soul. The same situation you will see in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is engrossed in confusion. His mind is going through a lot of emotional turmoil. And he's speaking so many things why he doesn't want to fight the war. And Krishna, who is also stationed on the same chariot as Arjuna, Krishna is hearing all of these, but he is smiling. Prahasan. There the expression used is Prahasan. He's smiling. Krishna was smiling. He's listening to all the words spoken by Arjuna. Why? Because Arjuna was identifying himself with those material situations. Therefore, he was caught up in the illusion. Whereas Krishna, he is above all material circumstances. He is above the influence of Maya. Therefore, he is not affected by all those reasons which Arjuna was giving. Therefore, Krishna was smiling. Oh, he is my devotee. And how has my devotee become so affected by Maya? Seeing the working of Maya, Krishna was smiling. So here, Narad Muni is smiling. The one who is fixed up in transcendental knowledge can always smile amidst difficult circumstances, like Narad Muni. But of course, Vyāsadeva is also a liberated soul. and moreover, he is an empowered incarnation of the Lord. But here, apparently, Vyasadeva has been put into a circumstance where he is confused, where he is dissatisfied. That is an arrangement of the Lord, because through this dissatisfaction of Vyasadeva, the great literature Srimad Bhagavatam is going to be composed, and it is going to be gifted to the mankind of Kali Yuga. This is the plan of the Lord. Just like Arjuna's confusion led to the speaking of Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna, in the same way, Vyasadeva's dissatisfaction led to the compilation of Srimad Bhagavatam. So both the literatures, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, were spoken or were brought to this material world under difficult circumstances for devotees. So Arjuna was in a difficult circumstance, confused about his duty, and Vyasadeva was also in a similar difficult circumstance of being dissatisfied even after compiling so many scriptures. That means both this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are a solution to all our confusion and dissatisfaction in this material world. The very fact that we are in this material world means that some or the other reason for our confusion, for our chaos, for dissatisfaction will always come. That is the nature of this material world. But if we take to the knowledge presented in these two books, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, then all our confusions will be resolved and we will attain complete satisfaction. And that is the message that Krishna wants to teach all of us through these two difficult circumstances during which these two books were revealed. So Narad Muni is smiling, whereas Vyasadeva is engrossed in dissatisfaction. So Prabhupada is saying Narad Muni is smiling because he knew very well the great sage Vyasadeva, because he was his own disciple, and he also knew the cause of disappointment of Vyasadeva. Why Vyasadeva was disappointed, that also Narad Muni knew. That is why he was smiling. So he will explain in the coming verses what was the cause of dissatisfaction and how to solve that by properly presenting the science of Bhakti Yoga. Right? So let us see text 2. Narada Uvacha Parasharya Mahabhaga Bhavata Kachidatmana Paritushyati Sharira Atma Manasa Evava. Translation and purport by Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. Narad Muni said, addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narad Muni inquired, are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This was a hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. Vyasadeva, as the descendant of Parashara, a greatly powerful sage, had the privilege of having a great parentage, which should not have given Vyasadeva cause for despondency. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as self or the mind as self, but Vyasadeva should not have done so. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. So Narad Muni is beginning to speak. The first thing that the spiritual master speaks to the disciple is, out of his compassion, the spiritual master chastises the disciple. The spiritual master points out the defect of his disciple. That is his causeless mercy. Chastisement by the Acharya, chastisement by the devotees of the Lord should never be taken in a negative manner. It should not be thought that, oh, this devotee has some grudge against me. That is why he is speaking like this, pointing out my defects and my problems and failures. No. It is the mercy of the devotee when he speaks like that. Otherwise, how will we know our our shortcomings, our drawback? We will never know, isn't it? Because we can never see our own back. Our back we cannot see. Someone has to come and tell us, oh, something is wrong in your back, isn't it? So when similar thing happened when Arjuna accepted Krishna as the disciple, sorry, as the spiritual master. Arjuna accepted Krishna as his spiritual master in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. First thing that Krishna said is, "You are a fool, Arjuna." Krishna assumed the role of a spiritual master. Till then, he was only smiling and listening to all the arguments put forward by Arjuna, and they had a friendly kind of a relationship till then. But then, as soon as Arjuna submitted to Krishna, Shishyasteham Shadhimam Tvam Prapannam. Oh Krishna, I am surrendering to you as a disciple. Now, please instruct me. Please tell me what I should do. What is my duty? Immediately, the first thing that Krishna spoke was, Ashocyananvashocastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. Oh Arjuna, while talking like a learned person, you are mourning for something which is not worthy of grief. A person who is truly learned will not lament either for the dead or for the living. So indirectly he's saying, Krishna said, you are a fool number one, Arjuna. You are speaking like a great Pandita, but you are lamenting for your so-called relatives and friends. A person who is truly in knowledge will not lament for anybody, either in their living condition or in their dead condition. So this is the first instruction, or the first thing that Krishna spoke to Arjuna after assuming the role of his spiritual master. Now here, Narad Muni, who is already the spiritual master of Vyāsadeva, he is immediately beginning to chastise Vyāsadeva in a very similar tone that Krishna spoke to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Narad Muni, you see, each word is so important. Narad Muni, as though he is weighing each word and he is speaking. He is weighing. Each word is so important, what Narad Muni is speaking. Pure devotees, they don't speak anything unnecessarily. Every word that they speak, there'll be a lot of meaning, a lot of purpose. Why those specific words only are used? One has to understand. And Prabhupada very nicely explains in the purport each of these words. Parasharya Mahabhaga. Oh Vyāsadeva, you know who you are? You are Parasharya. You are the son of Parashara Muni. And who is this Parashara Muni? He is a great Acharya who has composed the Vishnu Purana. He is not an ordinary person. He directly had the revelation of the Lord, and on being empowered by the Lord, he has composed Vishnu Purana. And you are the son of such a great Parashara Muni. And you are Mahabhaga. You are greatly fortunate. You are greatly fortunate because you are son of such a great devotee, Parashara Muni. You are also greatly fortunate because you became an instrument in compiling all the Vedic scriptures for the benefit of the mankind. So you are Mahabhaga. Bhavata Kachidatmana Paritushyati. So Narad Muni is asking, Bhavataha. See, this Bhavataha is it means your, with great respect. So in Sanskrit language, just like any other Indian language, you can address a person with singular address or with plural address, right? In English, it is all the same. Even to a small boy, you will say you, and even to a great person, you will say you. Isn't it? You. It does not convey any respect. But in Sanskrit, if you want to say you in a disrespectful manner, or to a person who is your equal or your lower to you, you will say tvam. Tvam. But if you want to show with respect, you will say bhavan. bhavataha, like that. Hmm? So, after in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addresses Krishna with the word Bhavan. Hmm? He says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Right? Bhavan. You are not an ordinary person. You are very respectable, Krishna. Now I have realized that you are Param Brahma. You are the supreme absolute truth. Parandhama, you are the supreme refuge or shelter of all the living entities. And Pavitram Paramam, you are the supremely pure person. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as Bhavan. Bhavan means with great respect. So here Narad Muni is addressing Vyasadeva, even though Vyasadeva is his own disciple, Narad Muni is addressing him as Bhavataha, your, with great respect, Bhavataha, your, Kachid, if it is, Atmana, by the self-realization of, Paritushyati, does it satisfy? So Narad Muni is asking, you are a great person, you are very fortunate, you are the son of the great Parashara Muni. Tell me, O Vyasadeva, Kachit Paritushyati, can you be satisfied? Paritushyati. Tushya means to be satisfied. Paritushyati means completely satisfied. Can you be completely satisfied if, Kachit means if, Atmana Sharira Atma Manasa Evava. If you identify yourself with your Sharira, body, or your Manasa, your mind, do you think you will be completely satisfied, my dear disciple, Vyasadeva? If you identify yourself with your body or mind, will you be actually satisfied? Narad Muni is asking. Now somebody may ask, why is Narad Muni asking like this? Vyasadeva is a self-realized soul. He knows that he is not the body, he is spirit soul, and he is an enlightened being. Why is Narad Muni asking that will you be satisfied if you identify yourself with your body and mind as objects of self-realization? Prabhupada is explaining that Narad Muni is beginning his diagnosis process. He is trying to diagnose. Actually, Narad Muni has understood what was the reason for Vyasadeva's dissatisfaction. Now he is presenting the diagnosis report. And in the first, he is not directly revealing the original problem. He is step by step building his argument. Narad Muni is step by step revealing. So Prabhupada is saying this was a hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. So actually, being the son of such a greatly powerful sage Parashara Muni, Vyasadeva should not have become despondent, but he has become despondent. So why he has become despondent? Prabhupada is explaining, ordinary men with a poor fund of knowledge identify themselves with their body or mind. But Vyasadeva should not have done this. Ordinary people, if they think I am the body, that's okay, that's expected. But Vyasadeva, son of Parashara Muni, Mahabhaga, greatly fortunate, if he is thinking that he is the body or mind, then this is not at all expected. This should not have been done. So Narad Muni is saying, my dear disciple Vyasadeva, do you think that if you identify yourself with your body or mind as objects of self-realization, you will be completely satisfied? No, the answer is no, obviously. Such a question is called a rhetoric question. Rhetoric question means you know the answer obviously, but still you're asking. Like, for example, if somebody is giving you a nice, let's say, chidadahi prasadam, very tasty prasadam. This afternoon we had a nice Krishna conscious get together in one of the in one of the houses of a 4+ devotee, and there were varieties of chidadahi prasadam prepared. It was so delicious. So if somebody gives you a nice prasadam plate and says, "This prasadam is so tasty," no? When you say like that, Obviously, the answer will be yes. That's called a rhetoric question. So, the answer to this question that Narad Muni is asking, do you feel you will be completely satisfied by identifying with your body or mind? For Vyasadeva, the answer is obviously he will say no. But why is Narad Muni asking like this? It is because in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedic scriptures and in many chapters of the Mahabharata, Vyasadeva has written in such a way that it encourages people to perform materialistic activities, various rituals, in order to get a better body and a mind in the next life, in order to get a better body, basically. So Vyasadeva has actually encouraged the fruitive mentality of people in this material world by describing various kinds of vratas, various kinds of austerities. And in return, he has promised, if you do this vrata, you will get a better body in the next life. You will be born in a Swargaloka, where you can enjoy more satisfaction of your body and mind. These kind of things Vyasadeva has written in the Mahabharata, in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas. We have discussed about this yesterday. It was required. Why Vyasadeva has written it? It was required. So, but here Narad Muni is pointing out that, see, you have mentioned all those kinds of rituals. And, people already, they don't know that they are not the body, they are soul. Now, when they read these kind of descriptions, they get attracted by the flowery language of the Vedas and they start engaging themselves in all those fruitive activities. And more they will be pushed into ignorance, thinking that they are the body. See, what a blunder you have done, my dear disciple Vyasadeva. You should not have done like this. So this is the flow of thoughts that Narad Muni is speaking. That's why first he is saying, do you think if you identify yourself with your body and mind, you will be satisfied? That's the first question. Let us see. So one important point Prabhupada is mentioning here, last point in this purport, one cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually seated in self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. If you want to become free from all despondency and dissatisfaction and become cheerful, you must be situated in the transcendental platform, in the spiritual platform. When you are identifying yourself with the body and mind, you cannot be cheerful truly. A lot of people, nowadays it's the age of selfies, isn't it? People are more interested in selfies. They're not interested in self-realization, isn't it? Whenever you have selfie, a friend will go to another set of friends and say, smile, and they all try to smile, artificially try to smile. Why? At least in the photo, I should appear cheerful. In my real life, I may not be cheerful, I may not be happy, but it's okay. At least in my selfie, I should be happy and I should look happy to the whole world. Such an artificial life. So Prabhupada is saying, if you want to be truly cheerful, you should actually come to the spiritual platform. You should give up the false identification with the body and mind. That is the whole point. Text 3. So Narad Muni is going to see, this is going to be many strong words Narad Muni is going to speak now. Right? Let us see what is that. Text 3. Jignasitam susampannam apite mahadadbhutam kritavan bharatam yastvam sarvartha paribramhitam. So Narad Muni is appreciating now first. He's saying, let us see what he says. Translation and purport by Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. Narad Muni continued. Your inquiries were full and your studies were also well fulfilled. And there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences, elaborately explained. Purport. The despondency of Vyasadeva was certainly not due to his lack of sufficient knowledge, because as a student, he had fully inquired about the Vedic literatures, as a result of which the Mahabharata is compiled with full explanation of the Vedas. So, what is Narad Muni saying? Jijñāsitam susampannam. Oh, my dear disciple Vyāsadeva, Jijñāsitam, you have fully inquired. You have asked all kinds of inquiries to me in the past. Susampannam, very nicely you have inquired. Api, in spite of, Mahad Adbhutam Kritavan Bharatam. So you have nicely inquired, you have studied well versed all the Vedic scriptures, and because of that, Mahat Adbhutam, great and wonderful Mahabharata, you have prepared. Kritavan, you have prepared. As we have discussed from past 3 days, we have been discussing about the greatness of Mahabharata. Mahabharata means Mahatvat Bharavatvat Mahabharata Uchyate. That literary work, which is Mahat, which is very great in its volume, both quality and quantity, it is very great, Mahabharata. 1 lakh verses Mahabharata has. This is the longest poetry in the entire history of mankind. 1 lakh verses Mahabharata Vyāsadeva composed. So, therefore, it is Mahat Bharavatva. It is also filled with Vedic conclusions. Therefore, it is Bharavatvat. It is Bhara means heavy. It is heavy. So Vyasadeva has compiled Mahabharata, and Narad Muni is congratulating. Yes, very nice. You have written this Mahat Adbhutam Bharatam, Mahabharata you have composed. And what is this Mahabharata having? Yastvam Sarva Artha Paribrahmitam. It includes all sequences of the Vedas elaborately explained. All that is present in the 4 Vedas, you have elaborately explained in your Mahabharata very nicely in the form of a narration, in the form of a story, which is very captivating to all categories of people, even to the less intelligent class of people. Your Mahabharata is very attractive, captivating. Very elaborately, you have described all the Vedic sequences in the Mahabharata. That is so nice. So Narad Muni is actually appreciating his disciple. So he's saying there is no doubt that you have prepared a great and wonderful work, the Mahabharata, which is full of all kinds of Vedic sequences elaborately explained. So, very nice that you have written Mahabharata. From this tone itself, we understand that Narad Muni is not very happy actually. He's saying, yeah, very nice. You have fully inquired about all the Vedic literatures. You don't lack any sufficient knowledge. You don't lack any knowledge. You're full. So very nice that you have compiled Mahabharata, which explains all the Vedas very nicely. Very nice. Let's continue what Narad Muni says. Text 4. Jijñāsitam adhītam cha brahma yattat sanātanam tathapi shochayasyatmanam akrutartha iva prabho. Translation and purport by Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. Narad Muni continued, you have fully delineated the subject of impersonal Brahman as well as the knowledge derived therefrom. Why should you be despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu? Purport. The Vedanta Sutra or Brahma-sūtra compiled by Sri Vyāsadeva is the full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature, and it is accepted as the most exalted philosophical exposition in the world. It covers the subject of eternity and the methods are scholarly. So there cannot be any doubt about the transcendental scholarship of Vyāsadeva. So why should he lament? So, Jijñāsitam, in the previous shloka also, this word was used, Jijñāsitam, Susampannam, nicely you have deliberated, nicely you have inquired. So here, Jijñāsitam adhītam cha, adhītam. So, Jijñāsitam means deliberated fully well. So, Vyāsadeva, before composing Mahabharata, he has nicely contemplated, he has nicely deliberated based on all the learnings that he got from the study of the Vedas. Nicely he has deliberated. Adhitam, and he obtained knowledge by that careful study and deliberation of all the Vedas. Brahma yattat sanatanam. Brahma means the absolute. Sanatanam means the eternal. So, tathapi. So you have nicely deliberated about the Sanatana Brahma, about the supreme absolute truth, the eternal truth. You have nicely deliberated. You have got sufficient knowledge by the study of the Vedas, and you have understood everything nicely. Tathapi, in spite of that, shochasi, you are lamenting. Atmanam akrita arthaha. You are lamenting as though you are undone. Undone means you're not done completely, you're not completed, you're not achieved your task, you're not achieved your specific purpose for which you have incarnated as Vyāsadeva. Why are you despondent in spite of all this, thinking that you are undone, my dear Prabhu? So here you can see Nārada Muni, even though he's a spiritual master, he's addressing Vyāsadeva as my dear Prabhu, my dear master, oh sir, my dear sir, why satisfied? So like this. So these questions, why Nārada Muni is asking, not because Nārada Muni did not know the reason for despondency of Vyāsadeva, he knew it very well, but he is trying to create some kind of a self-introspection in Vyasadeva's mind. Of course, already Vyasadeva was doing introspection. We saw that in the previous chapter, last few verses. But here, Nārada Muni is trying to bring up a very important point, which he started from the first shloka, where he said, do you think you will be satisfied if you identify yourself with your body and mind? And now he's asking another question. Why should you be despondent? Even after studying thoroughly all the Vedic scriptures and presenting it so nicely in your Mahabharata, why are you thinking as though you are not done? What is the reason, my dear Prabhu? Now, Prabhupada is explaining very nicely one important point here. Vyasadeva divided one Veda into 4. He compiled the Upanishads. Then he also compiled the Puranas and the Upapuranas. Then what did he do? He codified the knowledge of the Vedas into Vedanta Sutras. About 530 of them. 530 Vedanta Sutras. Vyasadeva has. These are Sutra means a code. Sutra means a formula. Aphorism. It's called aphorism. Short formula. For example, Janmadhyasya Yataha. This is one of the Vedanta Sutra. It's a very short, condensed version of the entire Vedic knowledge. This is called Vedanta. Anta means the end, the pinnacle of Vedic knowledge. So after studying all the Vedas and Puranas, Itihasas, Upanishads, then one has to take up the Vedanta study. And in the Vedanta, very short form, in a condensed form, Vyasadeva has codified the entire knowledge. So, Janmadhyasya Yataha means what? Janma Adi Yasya Yataha. There are 4 words. Now, these 4 words are actually summarizing the entire creation process, the entire root cause analysis as to who is the ultimate cause of everything. That is presented in just these 4 words. Janma Adi Asya Yataha. That means Janma means creation. Janma Adi. Adi means etc. Since it is a short formula, Vyasadeva is not elaborating here. Elaborated already he has given in the, elaborately he has described in the Vedas, Upanishads, everywhere. Now he is giving it in a short form. Janma Adi means creation, maintenance, destruction, etc. Creation, etc. That means it includes creation, maintenance, destruction. Janmadhyasya. Yasya means from whom. Yataha, from whom. So, from whom everything has come about. by whom everything is being maintained, and ultimately by whom everything is going to be destroyed. That is the meaning of this short Janmadhyasya Yataha. But the problem with the Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutra, it is also called Vedanta Sutra, it is called Brahma Sutra, it has got one more name called Badarayani Sutra. Badarayana is another name of Vyāsadeva. Since he has codified the Vedic Vedanta Sutras, it is also called Badarayani Sutras. So the problem with all these Brahma Sutras is, it is all about, apparently, at least to a layman's eyes, when he studies the Vedanta Sutras, it appears to be full of impersonal understanding. It appears to be impersonal. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, the ultimate absolute truth, is not presented in the Brahma Sutras directly. Okay. So it is the full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature. Prabhupada is saying it's a full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature. And it is accepted as the most exalted philosophical exposition in the world. Sripada Shankaracharya was the first person the Brahma Sutras. And his commentary is called Sharirika Bhashya. Sharirika Bhashya. And in his commentary, he has only talked about the impersonal aspect, the impersonal understanding of the absolute truth. Right? And of course, later on, the Vaishnava Acharyas, they have given a personal explanation. If you study the book Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, you will see how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the Brahma Sutras to the Mayavadi sannyasi, or Mayavadi, not sannyasi, the Mayavadi sannyasis of Varanasi, Prakashananda Saraswati. Very beautifully he explains. And he also explains the same thing to Sri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya of Jagannath Puri, the head priest of Jagannath temple in Puri, who was also a Mayavadi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presents the proper explanation of the Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutras. So, these Brahma Sutras, even though it appears to be an impersonal understanding, but when one studies the Brahma Sutras under proper guidance, one will come to the conclusion that the Supreme Brahman is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of 6 opulences. So, different acharyas have given bhashya. Bhashya means explanation to the Vedanta Sutras. Any sampradaya is said to be standard. Any sampradaya is accepted as bona fide among the learned circles only if that sampradaya has got a proper commentary for the Brahma Sutras. If a particular sampradaya is not able to produce a proper bona fide commentary on the Brahma Sutras, then that sampradaya is not accepted among the learned scholars, the great scholars. So, Madhvacharya has explained he has given his Madhva Bhashya, and then Ramanujacharya has given Sri Bhashya. His commentary is called Sri Bhashya to the Vedanta Sutras. So every Acharya has to give a commentary to the Vedanta Sutras and explain the process that their Sampradaya is following, the conclusions that their Sampradaya is following, they should be able to explain in the light of Vedanta Sutras. Then their Sampradaya will be accepted as a bona fide Sampradaya. Now, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, until Srila Baladev Vidya Bhushana, none of the Acharyas have actually given a commentary or a bhashya on the Vedanta Sutras. Why didn't they give? It was very interesting, because Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that Bhashyam Brahma Sutranam. Bhagavatam says This Srimad Bhagavatam is the Bhashya, is the commentary for the Brahma-sūtras. Now, the author of the Brahma-sūtras is Vedavyasa. The same Vedavyasa has given his own commentary on the Brahma-sūtras in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, our Acharyas thought that there is no need of any other commentary. Srimad Bhagavatam itself is the natural commentary of the Brahma Sutras. Natural commentary. Why it is called natural? Because the author of Brahma Sutras, he himself has given Bhagavatam, and in the Bhagavatam, the author Vyāsadeva himself is telling this is the natural commentary. This is the commentary on Brahma Sutras. Therefore, our Acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, they thought that since Bhagavatam is itself the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, there is no need of writing a separate Bhashya. See, our Acharyas, our Parampara, Acharyas in our Sampradaya, they did not focus on the scholarly aspect of the Vedas. They focused on the Bhakti aspect, which is actually the essence of all the Vedic understanding. Vedaischa sarvaihi ahameva vedyaha. And understanding Vedas means to engage in devotional service to the Lord. I am a great scholar in the Vedas. I am able to explain all the Sanskrit terminologies in the Vedas, Vedanta Sutras very nicely according to grammatical rules. This was never the central focus in our Sampradaya, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never focused on such things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu focused on chanting of the holy names, which he said is the perfection of Vedanta philosophy. Anybody who takes pleasure in chanting of the holy names of Krishna, he is called the highest Vedantist. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes this from the scriptures and he says, therefore, you simply chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, engage in the devotional service of Radha Krishna. This was the central point in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. Therefore, our Acharyas did not produce any Bhashya, commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. But then a very interesting incident happened. A group of scholars called the Ramanandis, they had an objection to the worship of Radha Govindji in Jaipur. The king of Jaipur was actually a Gaudiya Vaishnava devotee. He was influenced and preached by the Goswamis of Vrindavan. He had taken up Krishna consciousness, Chaitanya Vaishnavism. And according to the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, Radha and Krishna together are worshipped. This is our philosophy. And in Jaipur, there is a huge Radha Govinda temple. The original deities which were excavated by Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan, they were moved to Jaipur during the Mughal invasion from Vrindavan. They were moved to Jaipur, and from many decades they were being worshipped there in Jaipur. Now all of a sudden, a group of Ramanuja followers called as the Ramanandis, they come and they say, this Radha Krishna worship is not correct. It is not according to the Vedanta understanding. And nor you people, Gaudiya Vaishnava scholars, have produced any commentary on the Vedanta Sutras to support Radha Krishna worship. Therefore, we demand that unless you produce your own commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, this Radha Krishna worship cannot be allowed. Like this, they pressurized the king. Now, the king himself was a devotee. He had firm conviction in Radha Krishna worship. But then now objection has been publicly raised by these Ramanandi scholars. An apt answer has to be given. So therefore, the king of Jaipur, he sends a letter to the leader of the Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava community at that time, who was Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was about 90 years old at that time. So he received this letter from the king of Jaipur saying that, please come immediately to Jaipur and debate with these Ramanandi scholars. They are saying our Sampradaya is not bona fide because we don't have a commentary on Vedanta Sutras. Therefore, you please come do something. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was very old. He could not travel from Bengal to Jaipur during that time. So what did he do? He had a very fine disciple, Srila Baladeva. With his name was Srila Baladeva at that time. He had not yet received the title of Vidya Bhushana. He was called Baladeva. He was very great scholar. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur had full faith in Baladeva that he will go and present the conclusions of Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta and re-establish Radha Krishna worship in Jaipur. What they had done was, king was forced to separate Radharani from Krishna. Radharani was kept in a separate altar. So the Ramanandis, they demanded that until you prove from Vedanta Sutras that Radha Krishna worship is bona fide worship, you cannot worship Radha with Govindji. So Radharani was separated from Krishna, from Govindji deity. This happened about 400 years ago. So Baladeva, being ordered by his spiritual master, he traveled all the way from Bengal, came to Jaipur, and he had a debate, first meeting with the Ramanandis. So Baladeva was trying to answer all their questions by quoting Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. That was the firm conviction and belief of all. Then the Ramanandis, they did not accept this. See, we have a commentary, Sri Bhashya, we have, which Ramanujacharya has written. And based on, in the Sri Bhashya, Ramanujacharya has properly explained all the rituals and all the things that we follow in our Sampradaya. You don't have a bona fide commentary. Your acharyas have failed to produce a commentary. Therefore, we cannot accept your argument simply by quoting from Purana. From Bhagavata Purana, you are quoting, we cannot accept. Then Baladeva Vidya Bhushana, Baladeva said, give me some time. I'll come back to you. I will present a commentary. At that time, he just said like that. Producing a commentary on Brahma-sūtras is not a joke. It is a very, very tedious task. And not only producing a commentary, producing a consistent explanation, producing an explanation to support all the Siddhanta of the particular Sampradaya in such a way that no one can find any contradiction, no one can find any defect. This is not easy. It takes years and years and years. It's not easy. So anyway, Baladeva said, give me some time. I will come back with a proper commentary. So he goes to the temple of Govindji and he is disheartened to see Radharani, the eternal consort of Govindji, is separated from him in the altar. He feels very sad. And then he prays to Govindji. He says, oh my dear Lord, it is in your hands now. Our Chaitanya Siddhanta, our Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, the authenticity of that is in your hands now. Whether you want to save us in front of those scholars or you want to make us bite the dust, it is in your hands. If you want Radharani to come back next to you in your altar, please do something. Please tell me what should I do. So very desperately, Baladeva was praying to Govindji. And it is said, the Lord Govindji personally dictated the entire commentary for the Vedanta Sutras. And as Baladeva was hearing to the dictation of Govindji, he wrote down all the commentary. When you're presenting commentary, there are different sections. You have to take one sutra, then there is something called Purva Paksha. Purva Paksha means what could be the possible objections from the opponents? What could be the possible objections of those scholars who are trying to oppose our Siddhanta? First, all those objections have to be listed. Then for each objection, explanation, answer has to be written. Okay, and this answer should be consistent with the previously established conclusions of the Vedas. It cannot conclude, it cannot contradict the Vedas. It cannot contradict the standard Acharya's explanations. So, like this, there are so many technicalities. Huh? Purva Paksha, Uttara Paksha, all these things have to be presented. So, for each sutra, Govinda Dev Ji, Krishna himself, was narrating, was dictating the Bhashya. And Baladeva wrote down the entire thing. And within a very short period of time, within a few days, this commentary was completed. And Baladeva goes to the king's court. The king is also very happy. Oh, we have a commentary now. This scholar is such a young devotee, and so quickly he has produced a commentary. Now our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, no one can question. He was so happy. Then he called for those Ramanandi scholars. The Ramanandi scholars were also surprised. Till few days ago, this Gaudiya Vaishnavas did not have any commentary. Now, just a few days, this young boy has brought some commentary. Okay, then they started a debate now. Okay, now you open your commentary. We are going to ask you some questions. You explain now. So it became a very long conversation, a long commentary, a long Shastrartha, it is called. Shastrartha means discussing based on the scripture. All the questions all the objections which Ramanandis raised, already Baladeva had written the answers to that in the commentary. And he was quoting from the commentary. And the Ramanandis finally had to accept, yes, Radha Krishna worship is bona fide. Now the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have their own commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. They are a bona fide Sampradaya. So this commentary, which was dictated by the Lord Govindji himself, is known as Govinda Bhashya. It's called Govinda Bhashya. The commentary, Bhashya, dictated by the Lord himself, written by Baladev Vidyabhushana. He got this title Vidyabhushana after this incident. Vidyabhushana means he is the crest jewel among all the Vidwans. So the Ramanandis were, they were impressed by the scholarly presentation of Baladeva, and this title was given to him, Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushana. And Srila Prabhupada, he dedicates Bhagavad Gita as it is to Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana, who so nicely presented the Govinda Bhashya commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. You will see in the very first page, in the very beginning of the book, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada writes this. So, the Vedanta Sutras are said to be the final, ultimate conclusion of all the knowledge of the Vedas. And our Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, is in line with the Vedanta philosophy. So through the Vedanta Sutras, Baladev Vidyabhushana proved that Radha and Krishna, they are inseparable, and Radha Krishna worship is bona fide. Right? So why I told about all these things? In fact, to commemorate the victory of this Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, there was a victory festival conducted by the king of Jaipur, and in a very, very grand manner, they brought Radharani back to the main altar next to Govindji. There was a big festival conducted, and there was also another deities installed, new deities, Radha Vijaya Govinda deity, to remember this victory of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy over the Ramanandis. The deity we can find in Vrindavan, in the temple of Radha Gokulananda, Radha Vijaya Govinda deities, worshipped by Baladev Vidyabhushana. We can see that in Vrindavan. So, we should know something about Vedanta Sutras and how our Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara is very authentic. We should all know this because we are all practicing Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. Our central philosophy is Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. the previous acharyas, I'll take another 5 minutes. The other acharyas like Madhvacharya, first came Shankaracharya who gave Advaita Vada. Advaita, he said, Jivatma and Paramatma are one. Then came Ramanujacharya, he gave Vishishta Advaita. He said, Vishishta Advaita. He said, yeah, Jivatma and Paramatma may be one, but there is a uniqueness, there is a Vaishistya, there is a speciality in the Lord, and there are certain specialities in the living entities. In that way, they are different. That is Vishishta Advaita. Then Madhvacharya came and said, Dvaita, both are different. Jivatma and Paramatma, both are different. They are not the same. And then came Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who synthesized, who summarized, who presented a combination of all the Acharyas' philosophies. And he said, yes, Shankaracharya's Advaita philosophy is also correct. Madhvacharya's Dvaita philosophy is also correct. Vishishta Dvaita is also correct. How? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, we have to take it from different perspectives. When you see from the perspective of quality, Shankaracharya's Advaita philosophy is correct. Quality-wise, Jivatma and Paramatma, both are same. Just like a small spark of fire, they have the same quality of burning. So quality-wise, a spark and the fire, both are same, you can say. There is no difference. Advaita is correct, quality-wise. Quantity-wise, Dvaita is correct. We are different from the Lord. We are just a small spark, whereas the Lord is a huge fire. We are just a small drop of water. The Lord is a huge ocean of water. So quantity-wise, Dvaita is correct. Quality-wise, Advaita is correct. So this is simultaneous oneness and difference. And this is inconceivable, achintya. How can two things be simultaneously one with each other and different from each other? This is not so easy to understand and comprehend. Therefore, the adjective achintya is added. Achintya means that which is inconceivable to the normal mind. So our philosophy is achintya bheda abheda tattva. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. This is the highest philosophy. There is no philosophy greater than this. There will be no more Acharya who will come after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and say, now I have something bigger to tell, I have something greater to tell. No, because this is all encompassing philosophy. All encompassing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all the Acharyas who have told these different philosophies before, they are not wrong. I am presenting a synthesis of all the philosophies which the great Acharyas have presented in the past, and a complete picture I am giving. The complete picture is Jivatma and Paramatma. They are simultaneously one in quality, but different in quantity. And this is achintya. This is inconceivable. It's not so easy to understand. One has to go in the depth of philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also preached the chanting of the holy name of the Lord based on this philosophy only. He said, the holy name of the Lord is non-different from the Lord. It is non-different from the Lord. Though the Lord is a separate personality living in the spiritual world, but the holy name of the Lord, since it is the energy of the Lord, when you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra from our material tongue, when you pronounce the sound, this sound is a material sound, it's a material energy of the Lord, but the Lord allows us to chant the holy name, and the Lord incarnates in this material sound. Since it is energy of the Lord, it is non-different from the Lord, and the Lord personally incarnates as Shaktya-vesha Avatara into the sound that we are chanting through our material voice box. This is achintya abheda bheda. Right? It is bheda abheda. It is non-different and different. So this is the philosophy. So on the basis of achintya bheda abheda philosophy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked everybody to chant. You chant the holy name of the Lord, even though you may be producing a normal sound. It may appear to be like a normal sound, but the Lord will incarnate into it as a Shaktya-vesha Shabda, and it is then not different from the Lord. Since it is energy of the Lord, it is not different from the Lord. So, this is the conclusion of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta. So, we'll close here. Any questions? Anyone has any comments? Quickly, we can take.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Tarun.
You said that Ramananda has like Ramanandis have opposed the worship of Radha and Krishna, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it mentioned in Ramanujacharya's commentary? Like,
What is mentioned?
Is that like Ramanandis were following the Ramanujacharya's commentary, right? Like,
Correct.
is that really mentioned, Prabhu? Because Ramanujacharya is comes
No.
from Sri Vaishnava, right?
Yes. So, what is mentioned in the Sri Bhashya of Ramanujacharya is Narayana is the supreme personality of Godhead. Narayana has got many energies. Principal energies are Shri, Bhu, and Nila. These are all explained by the Sri. But as far as the worship of Radha Krishna is concerned, that was only revealed through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 2 generations before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you see the disciplic succession of our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, you will see Madhavendra Puri. Only Madhavendra Puri was the first Acharya who revealed this Radha Krishna worship. Radha Krishna worship is very, very esoteric. It is very, very elevated mode of worship. So until Madhavendra Puri, this Radha Krishna worship was not revealed to through any Acharya. It is not that those Acharyas did not know Radha Krishna worship, but they did not reveal. It's not that Acharya has to reveal everything about the Supreme Lord. Based on time, place, and circumstances, the Acharyas reveal as much as it is relevant to that people at that time so that they can develop faith and practice bhakti. So Lakshmi Narayana worship is very prominent in the Sri Sampradaya because Ramanujacharya and previous to him the great Alvars, they had all revealed about Lakshmi Narayana worship. But Radha Krishna worship, which is a little more elevated, a little more advanced, this was not revealed by Ramanujacharya nor by Madhvacharya. You see, in Madhvacharya, if you go to Udupi, you will see Krishna is worshipped alone in the altar, in the Udupi Krishna Matha. There is no conception of Radha worship. At the max, they can accept Rukmini Krishna worship. But Radha Krishna worship, it is a little difficult for them to digest because it is not so easy to understand the loving dealings between Krishna and the gopis and Krishna and Radharani. These are very, very confidential. These are very esoteric. So this Radha Krishna worship was revealed for the first time by Madhavendra Puri. And ever since then, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas were following Radha Krishna worship based on the explanations given by the Acharyas. But there was no formal written Vedanta Sutra explanation until Baladev Vidyabhushana. Therefore, the Ramanandis challenged. See, you are worshipping Radha Krishna. And only in your parampara you are worshipping Radha Krishna. In no other parampara it is there. Now, how do you prove the authenticity of Radha Krishna worship? If you are not able to explain Radha Krishna worship in the light of Vedanta Sutras, then we don't accept. Right? It was not out of envy that they were telling. They're not telling out of envy. But it is a scholarly debate. A scholarly debate. If your sampradaya is bona fide, Radha Krishna worship is bona fide, you prove through the Vedanta Sutra. You explain. We will accept. And once Baladev Vidyabhushana presented the Govinda Bhashya commentary, they all accepted. Because they were all scholars. Scholars always do vada, tarka. Based on vada, tarka, logical debate. If you're able to establish, they will accept. So they accepted. Is that okay? Tarun, does it answer your question?
Yes, like one more question, Prabhu. Like, is the Radha Krishna worship not directly mentioned in the Vedanta Sutras, or is it like how
No, in
is it?
Vedanta Sutra, nothing is mentioned directly. Even Lakshmi Narayana worship is not mentioned directly. Okay.
Uh,
The
Prabhu.
Acharyas explain the Vedanta Sutra
Uh,
and establish the standard practices. Okay. In Bhagavatam, everything is directly mentioned. But in the Vedanta Sutra, as Prabhupada writes in the purport, no? Just now we read in this purport. What is
hmm,
Prabhupada saying? The Vedanta Sutra or Brahma-sūtra compiled by Sri Vyāsadeva is the full deliberation of the impersonal absolute feature, and it is accepted as the most exalted philosophical exposition in the world. So, outwardly, externally, the sutras appear to be referring to the impersonal absolute truth, Brahman. That's why they're called Brahma Sutras. They're not called Bhagavan Sutras. They're called Brahma Sutras. Right? But from the Bhagavatam, we understand the ultimate realization of the absolute truth is Bhagavan. So, the Vaishnava Acharyas explain the Brahma Sutras. Through Brahma Sutra explanation, they worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Okay. So in Brahma Sutras, directly nothing is going to be there. The Acharyas will explain that. It's like code. Brahma Sutras are all codes. The Acharyas decode it through their explanation. Is it okay?
yes, Prabhu.
Uh,
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
yeah, Prabhu, I have one doubt. In the teachings of
Yes.
Lord Chaitanya, I read
Yeah.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conversation with Ramananda Raya and Prakashananda Saraswati. Sorry,
Yeah.
Prakashananda Saraswati and wait, Sarvabhauma
Sarvabhauma
Bhattacharya. Sorry.
Bhattacharya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that in
Yeah.
Brahma Sutra, whatever is given directly, we should take the primary meaning. We should not take the secondary meaning. We should not
Correct.
take the indirect meaning, secondary meaning. So in
Yes.
Brahma Sutra, has it mentioned anywhere that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because you said
No.
that it's not directly mentioned. But so on what basis did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say that Brahma Sutra says Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
Yeah. So the word Brahman is used in the Brahma Sutras. The word Bhagavan is not used, or Krishna is not used directly. The word Brahman is used. See, the Brahma Sutra or the Vedanta Sutra is meant for study of those people who have studied all the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, everything, Itihasas. After studying all that, then one finally comes to Brahma Sutras. In Brahma Sutras, everything is mentioned as abbreviations. It's not elaborated. Just like I told, Janmadhyasya yataha, that's all. Janmadi means what? For a normal person who is reading Brahma Sutras for the first time, he will not be able to understand what is this Janmadi means what. But one who is familiar with the study of the Vedas, when he studies the Brahma Sutras, he will be able to decode it. Oh, Janmadi means creation, maintenance, destruction. See, so much, three words is compressed into one word and it is given there. So it's a compressed version of the entire Vedic knowledge. That's why they're called sutras. Okay. So directly you will not find reference to Krishna or Bhagavan. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains based on the authority of the other scriptures. He explains Brahman. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes this Bhagavatam shloka. Brahmeti Bhagavaniti, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdyate. The same supreme absolute truth is called as Brahman by some people, as Paramatma by some people, as Bhagavan by some other people, based on the degree of their realization. So, in the very first, one of the first shlokas, Athato Brahma Jignasa, while explaining this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahma Jignasa means what? It means different things to different people. To the impersonalist, it refers to Jignasa, inquisitiveness about the impersonal absolute truth. To the yogis, it refers to inquisitiveness about Paramatma. And to the devotees who are the topmost transcendentalists, it refers to Bhagavan. And this Brahman is none other than the Supreme Absolute Truth, Vishnu or Krishna, who is Shadaishwarya Purnam. So, like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu develops the explanation. Okay, we have to carefully read those chapters where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the explanation of the Vedanta to first initially to Prakashananda Saraswati and the Mayavadi scholars in Varanasi, and later to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So the Acharyas, that's why it is said the scriptures have to be understood through the Acharyas. The Acharyas explain, then we understand. So now I said the Brahma-sūtras are like the codes and you have to decode it. Can anybody decode it by himself? No. One has to be an authorized, empowered Acharya. When he decodes and explains, that will be bona fide explanation. You and me cannot decode. That is the meaning of accepting the disciplic succession, accepting the Acharya. Okay, there are some interesting questions posted by some devotees in the chat. Quickly, let us see that. Vishwanath Sujay. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Is the Govinda Bhashya or its summary available as a book? Is it recommended to read it, or reading Bhagavatam is preferred? We should stick to Srila Prabhupada's explanation, Srila Prabhupada's books. We need not have to go and study or read any of those other books. Even though in the internet there may be so many books written by ISKCON devotees on Govinda Bhashya, but it is recommended not to read such books because we never know the authenticity. We cannot be 100% sure what they're writing is correct or not. Now, if you want to get a glimpse of Govinda Bhashya, as I already mentioned, read the book Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, especially the topics, the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prakashananda Saraswati, and the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. The same is presented elaborately in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. The purports of Chaitanya Charitamrita of these two chapters, Prabhupada sheds more light and explains very nicely all of these things. Hope that answers your question. And of course, Bhagavatam we should read because Bhagavatam is a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. You will see many Vedanta Sutras being quoted everywhere in Bhagavatam. The first shloka of Bhagavatam itself is beginning with a Vedanta Sutra. Janmadhyasya yataha, isn't it? So like this you will find many. So therefore the entire Bhagavatam itself is an explanation of the Vedanta Sutras. Hope that answers your question. Another question, Shanta Lakshmi Mataji has asked, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Same question as supremacy of Krishna as controversy of Sri Vaishnavas saying Narayana or Vishnu as supreme from Vedanta Sutra. For this you have to read the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkata Bhatta. Venkata Bhatta, he was the father of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He was the priest in the Srirangam temple in South India. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came during South Indian travel for 4 months during the Chaturmasya, he stayed in the house of Venkata Bhatta. And that is when young Gopal Bhatta Goswami got the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, got fond of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there, one day, there is a conversation which happens between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkata Bhatta, where this controversy, this supremacy, who is great, Narayana is great or Krishna is great? Who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? This topic is very nicely discussed, and you should read that. This is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the conversation between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkata Bhatta Goswami. The sum and substance of that conversation I'll just tell you in few words, few lines. Actually, there is no difference between Narayana and Krishna because both are Vishnu Tattva, number one. Number two, Krishna, with Narayana, there is only Dasya Rasa possible for ordinary living entities. You cannot go to Vaikuntha and put your hands on the shoulder of Narayana like cowherd boys doing with Krishna in Vrindavan. That is not possible. Okay. So, but with Krishna it is possible. With Krishna, Sakhya Rasa exchange is possible. With Krishna, Madhurya Rasa exchange is possible. Vatsalya Rasa is possible. But with Narayana, it is not possible. In his position as the Vaikuntapati, Vaikunthanatha, it is not possible. Prabhupada gives the example, no? That High Court judge. High Court judge, in his courtroom, he is very strict. As soon as he enters, everybody bows down. Everybody addresses him as my lord. But when the same High Court judge goes to his house, his grandson will say, "Oh grandfather, become my horse. I want to ride on you. Dada, dada, ghoda bano." And the same High Court judge becomes a horse. And his grandson will climb on him and he will ride on him. He takes pleasure in that. But in the office, in the courtroom, oh, he cannot do like that. His position is different. So, Prabhupada explains, Krishna in Vaikuntha, he is like the High Court judge. Everybody, all devatas, fold hands, they chant Vedic mantras, Purusha Sukta, they bow down. That's all is possible. But when the same Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavana, he is more accessible to his devotees who want to relish different kinds of loving relationships with him. All that is possible with Krishna. So that is the High Court judge in his house. That is Krishna. So therefore, since more rasa exchanges is possible only with Krishna, therefore, Krishna is superior in that context. Right? Tattva-wise, Narayana and Krishna both are same. But rasa-wise, Krishna is superior because Krishna is called Raso Vaisaha. He is the fountainhead of all rasas. So much so that Bhagavatam describes even Lord Narayana and the residents of Vaikuntha, they get attracted to Krishna's sweetness. That is a position of Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. Literally, he is all attractive. He is attractive even to his own expansions as Narayana. That is a meaning of all attractive. So this we have to study. We have to nicely understand this, isn't it? So with more understanding, we should study Prabhupada's books nicely, scrutinizingly. All this, whatever I am telling, it is all from Prabhupada's books only. We should actually dedicate our life to study Prabhupada's books. Very, very important. Study nicely, understand the tattva, follow. Now, only theory understanding is not enough. We have to also chant. We have to, Prabhupada says, I've written all these books to convince you to chant 16 good rounds of Hare Krishna mantra every day. So the result of studying Prabhupada books scrutinizingly is developing attachment to the holy name of the Lord. Okay, one more question. I think we are getting late. Which shloka in Bhagavatam says that the natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra is Bhagavatam? That's a homework for you. Please do a search. Verse I am telling, Bhashyam Brahma-sūtranam. Search for this in Veda base, you will get. Bhashyam Brahma-sūtranam. It is there in the Bhagavatam itself. Please do a homework and please share the reference with me. Okay. Thank you very much. We shall close the session today. I intended to close the session at 9 o'clock itself, but interesting questions were asked by all of you. So it is so nice. My desire is more devotees should attend this class. Somehow, on weekdays, we are able to cross 20. On weekends, it is a little lesser than that. So request all of you to please tell this to your other people, your friends, folk plus friends. And apart from them, anybody, your friends, relatives, acquaintances who are interested to hear Bhagavatam, they can also be invited for this session. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.